Happy Earth Day, you guys. I got a special treat for you guys today. Anita Clevenger, Master Gardener, Perennial Plant Club, Grant
Committee chair,
is going to give us a little tour of her little secret garden here in East Sacramento. And tell us how this all started.
I moved here January of 1978, and I came from Ohio and knew nothing about gardening in California. And lots of the plants that I planted died. But what didn't die were roses because they're so tough. And my neighbor Bill Harp across the street began showing me the old roses that he had found in historic places, both in Virginia, where his family was from, as well as here in California. And the romance and the stories and the mystery of these old roses just thrilled me. And so he and I shared that connection for years. We started gardening in the city cemetery, historic rose garden, but I also started gardening here. And originally I was just going to plant a few old roses. And now I have about 70 different varieties, as well as many
That's amazing.
other plants.
So you took out the pool, and this is what we're going to see. Shall we have a quick look?
Sure.
Look at how magical, you guys.
All different kinds, and most of them are from the 19th century. And some of them were found, for example, this one, the curator at the city cemetery saw it blooming in a pasture in Chico and went under the barbed wire fence and got some cuttings of it. And we call it Barbara's Pasture Rose.
I love that all of the roses here have a story to tell. And tell us the story about how you were a part of the Sacramento Cemetery here and a part of the Rosarian group there.
Yes, there was a historic rose garden started there with full city support in 1998. And my neighbor Bill had been collecting old roses, and I saw that they were going to have an open garden. And I said 1998. I always get that date wrong. It was 92, actually, that garden was founded. And they started an adopt-a-plot program there in 89. So I need to roll the time back a little bit. The garden was started in 92. So Bill and I started going over there, and I said, someday I'll volunteer there. I worked at McClellan Air Force Base that closed in 2001, took an early retirement, and I had time to help. So I started volunteering there.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so will you give us a quick walkthrough and a little tour?
Yeah, this is a rose that Bill collected at his wife's family home. We've identified it as Archduke Charles, which is from the 1840s. This is an old China rose, which is called White Pearl and Red Dragon's Mouth. And they say that in the center, the little bit of white flowers in there, or the little center, is the white pearl of wisdom that the red dragon brings back to the emperor. Flies out at night to look for it.
And how old is this? Do you know approximately?
It's ancient. It probably has been around for 1,000 years. We Westerners are all history we think begins with us. And so we'd say that all these roses really began about the end of the 18th century because that's when they were introduced. But they were grown in China for years before.
Amazing. And you got some snap peas here.
Yeah, these are our sweet peas and Kupani's selection. And I've been explaining that people think roses shouldn't have things growing around them, and it's really not for the best. But what's going to happen is in about 6 weeks, the summer's going to happen. Daisy Ma says summer happens fast, and it sure does here. And so the sweet peas will be done. Most of these annual flowers will be done. I'll do a clearing, and the garden will look totally different.
And Daisy Ma is a legend like you, but people that don't know who she is, can you tell people?
She is the legendary gardener of the Land Park Rock Garden, WPA Rock Garden.
You have to check that out if you don't know what it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but many different kinds of roses here. Old tea roses.
The wisteria.
The wisteria, which is just about past.
Still looking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Giving
and the yellow banksia rose going up in this tree. This is a rose called the Secret Garden Musk Climber.
Ooh.
And
Secret
I do
garden
have
rose.
a secret garden.
Ooh.
You have to go down this walkway and down towards where the mirror beckons to you.
Let's take a look. All right. Let's see the secret garden. I love all your plinths and columns here and the mirrors.
And then the fountain, which I've just newly added. And idea is this is a ferny, kind of a grotto place to hang out.
It's gorgeous. And then you sort of have a Japanese inspired little area, which we'll go to in a bit. But tell me about these fragrant, gorgeous.
Well, every rose is a different kind. This is one known as Mel Hulse. It's actually a more modern rose, named for the deceased director of the San Jose Heritage Rose Garden. Okay. This little sweetie is called Lida Rose.
Lida Rose. It almost looks like a dogwood almost.
It does. And then this is one known as Sambui.
This is one of my favorites.
Which smells so good.
It's so fragrant. It smells like a light perfume.
And I just love that there's so many different vantage points.
Everywhere you sit, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright liked to design everything, indoor and out, with the idea of everywhere you sit, there's a beautiful vantage point. So you've definitely
I do have that, I think.
been inspired by that.
Although I don't sit a lot because I'm busy gardening.
Yes.
But here's my Asian garden.
And this was inspired by a trip.
Yeah, well, actually, what happened, well, it's inspired by that we always wanted a Buddha. One of our first dates, we saw the Buddha in the Asian garden, the Japanese garden in Golden Gate Park.
Your husband Walt,
and we loved it. But then we had a Japanese maple behind a raised deck that was here when we had the pool. And when we tore that down, we said, this is a perfect spot for a Buddha. And then I got into how do you do a Japanese garden? Well, you need bamboo, you need enclosure. So one thing led to another. And I even had a little garden shed built.
I love this garden shed. You guys, take a look at this.
Yeah.
You had this built. You even have like the little sliding shoju-esque doors.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's nothing but a tool shed.
Oh, nothing but this is one of the most organized, chic tool sheds ever.
And then we did, because that's the sunny spot, that's where our vegetables garden is. Grow broccoli in the winter and tomatoes in the summer.
And do you ever pick these roses and, you know, make arrangements, or they're mainly you enjoy them outside?
Oh, a little bit, but mostly I enjoy them outside.
Okay, take a look at this. Wow. And where did this all stem from? I know that as a little girl you were fanciful and loved fairy tales, right?
Yes, I wanted to be Alice in Wonderland and eat the thing that made me little, and which is one of the things I loved about the cemetery garden, because we had those raised cemetery plots, and then the roses grew in them, and you could just get lost in them. And I wanted that same sense of enclosure here. And so I like a romantic garden.
Oh, it's romantic indeed. This black bee has gold wings. It's so gorgeous.
It's a carpenter bee.
Carpenter bee. Wow. Well, I think you did achieve Alice in Wonderland Secret Garden. This is amazing. Thank you for the tour. Anything you want to say about the Perennial Plant Club? I know that you have grants and such with people want to get involved with it.
It's just a terrific club. The club keeps growing, and it keeps growing because we have this wonderful garden community. We have wonderful activities. We have 2 great plant sales, or at least 1 great plant sale a year. We fund other gardens in the community, and we have the 2 best meals of the year. We have a salad potluck and a great holiday dinner. So what's not to like?
And does
fourth Thursday of each month, we meet at the Shepherd Garden and Arts Center.
And their scholarships, do they go to the future gardeners as well, or?
They go to whomever. It's any horticultural, educational activity. And so a lot of it goes to schools, but not necessarily schools. And so you can look on our website and see who's been eligible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, I really appreciate the garden tour.
Well, I appreciated you coming today.
I loved having tea over there in the gazebo. I felt like I was in Giverny at Monet's garden.